Hi everybody, Joe here from Shutter Speak Photography. Very nice to see your smiling face again here on YouTube. So, in my hands today I have the Nikon Z MC 105mm f2.8 VR S series lens. It's a gorgeous lens. 105mm is a fantastic portrait length for portraits. F2.8, it's going to get you a beautiful, nice, creamy, soft bokeh in the background. But it's also a macro, so it's perfect for taking shots of jewelry. It's a 1:1 zoom level. You know, anything small macro shots, and I did take some jewelry shots with it, which I'm going to show you, along with some stuff from the shelf back there and a few more quote-unquote scientific tests. Anyway, we'll also take a look at how it compares against the Laowa 100mm macro lens. The Laowa comes in only $499. This comes in at about $997, and main difference, spoiler alert, being this is autofocus, the Laowa is not. But just out of curiosity, how do they look side by side on a jewelry shot? That's kind of important and something that you're going to want to know. So we're going to take a look at that. But before we do, I'd just like to say I appreciate you. Nice to see you here. Yes, you did leave your webcam on again. If anything in this video helps you out, please help me out by hitting like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you get notified of future updates to this channel. I would greatly appreciate that. It's something that you can do for me that would make me smile, and best of all, it's free. So, without any more interruptions, let's take a look at this beauty of a lens. By the way, it's super light. I'm really impressed with this. I believe it is 632 grams, which is 22.3 ounces. So it's nice and light on the camera, which is something that I was actually a little bit surprised by, but great lens. Let's take a look at some pictures. Okay, a few technical specifications of this lens because these things are important. Maximum aperture is f2.8, which is really nice. It is, of course, a full frame FX lens. The lens dimensions are 3.4 inches or 85mm by 5.6 inches, or if you prefer, 140mm. Approximate weight, as I mentioned, 22.3 ounces, which is super light. I was very impressed by that, or 630 grams. And yes, it is a macro lens. So of course it is the Z mount version. Minimum aperture, as I mentioned, f2.8. Maximum aperture was a very impressive f32. You have a maximum viewing angle of approximately 15 degrees DX format and 23 degrees full frame. There is a maximum zoom of 1 time. And for those who want to know, it's 9 diaphragm blades. Yes, it is VR reduction up to 4 stops, I am told, using a stepping motor for focus. Minimum focus distance is 0.96 feet or 0.29 meters for those on the metric system. There is a autofocus / manual focus switch with a limiter. Full being 0.29 meters, and the limited is 0.5 meters. Filter size 62mm, and I mean, yeah, prime lens, that's it. So that's the important stuff. Oh, one thing that I should mention that is kind of important, although this is an f2.8 lens, and this is true of all macro lenses, by the way, as you get closer to your subject, due to physics, the f-stop of the lens changes. So this lens will go at its closest focusing distance up to f4.5. Now, the interesting thing about this lens is it actually accurately reports the f-stop. So as you get closer, you'll actually see the f-stop changing in the pictures. So at its maximum focusing distance, you can't actually use f2.8. But again, this applies to any macro lens. It's not just this lens. It's just the interesting thing about this lens is it's telling you the correct aperture as you get closer without you having to change it. So that's kind of neat. All right, let's take a look at some images. All right, so let's take a look at some sample images and see what we have. So the first one up is the lens cal chart. So we'll take a look at sharpness here. Now this is shot at f8 on the NIKKOR Z MC 105mm, and you can see one-to-one zoom, it is absolutely tack sharp on the 0 line, which is where it should be. So that is pretty amazing. So you can't really ask for better than that. Let's take a look. So again, f2.8, again, right at the 0 line, super sharp, perfect. Can't ask for anything more than that. So just really, really super sharp, this lens. Now let's play around with it a little bit and see what we can do. This is at f4, and again, you know, it's that chest set that sits behind me, and you can see just the gorgeous, creamy, soft bokeh behind this image, and you know, we have nice sharp focus on the subject. And there is Captain Kirk and his phaser, and again, just a short distance, and he's blown right out of focus. Really, really nice. Playing around a little bit with a few other characters to see what we can get here. Okay, this is f5.6 and fairly sharp, but as we get a little bit closer, you see we start to change our f-stop. Actually, if you tried to shoot this again at f2.8, you wouldn't be able to. I was actually set at 2.8 again. This is physics, folks. So it has moved itself up to 3.2 because that's what it needs in order to work correctly to actually take this image. And you can see little Grogu there dropping out of focus. And then as we move in a little bit tighter, f3.5, and we have our trooper's face. And then, of course, I mean, how can we not have a Tusken Raider? Right, so Tusken Raider at f5, looking fantastic. And in case you're wondering, that's just some tinfoil and some colored LED lights in the background. So how does this lens stack up against the Laowa? So let's take a look. So this is the Laowa 100mm lens, coming in somewhere at around $399, I believe. This is a ring shot, and again, the background is really just it's just some tinfoil with a colored LED light. So you take a piece of tinfoil, just crinkle it up into a ball, unfold it, and then just drop it in the background there, and put an LED light any color that you want in the background, and it'll give you that backdrop like that. So, and the foreground, by the way, iPad. So nice image, looks pretty good, but let's compare it to the 105. And right away, you can see the backdrop is just much softer. The image is a little bit brighter. And let's compare these two side by side. And so we have on the left, this side here, this is the Nikon 105. On the right here, this is the Laowa 100mm. And when you look at them side by side, you can really see that the Nikon's just a little bit brighter. The background is definitely a lot softer, and these were taken absolutely identical lighting, taken on a tripod, identical camera settings. The only difference here is a lens swap. So nothing has changed in between these two photos except swapping out the lens. You're taken within probably a minute of each other. So you can really see here how that Nikon 105 is just giving you a nice softer background. It's giving you a brighter image. And let's zoom in, and it's hard to zoom because 100 versus 105, they're just slightly different because of the difference in focal length, but again, otherwise identical. And I would venture to say, in terms of sharpness, it's pretty close. Now don't forget that Laowa is a manual focus lens, so I did focus that using focus peaking, and I zoomed in one-to-one zoom and made that as sharp as I possibly could using focus peaking on that right-hand image. The image on the left was auto-focused by the Nikon, and the autofocus does a bang-up job, as did the other, but I have to say, I think that the 105 looks better. There's just a little bit more detail around here in these other diamonds, as opposed to here. There's a little bit less detail, and I'm seeing more detail in here. as opposed to the Laowa. And again, it's just brighter. It's a little bit brighter, a little bit sharper, a little bit clearer. Very comparable. Both fantastic lenses, and I would highly recommend really either one of these lenses to anyone. It's just, again, keep in mind the Laowa is manual focus, and manual aperture. So you're spinning an aperture ring, and you're spinning the focus dial. And if I was going to take pictures of a wedding ring at a wedding, I would have no problem bringing that Laowa with me, as long as I had a tripod, because trying to manual focus handheld on something like this is challenging. Without a tripod, I would definitely want that Nikon Z 105, but with a tripod, it's pretty close. You're probably going to get more use out of the Nikon Z 105 because it is autofocus. It's got built-in vibration reduction, so you're going to be able to use that for a portrait lens, and you're really going to get a lot more use out of it, I think, than a manual focus lens. It's not easy to use a manual focus lens, even in portraits. Things that just move even just a little bit can just throw off focus. And it's not to say it can't be done. It definitely can be done, and it's done by a lot of people, a lot of great photographers. But if the $996, $997 price tag is not in your range, then that Laowa does look pretty darn close. And I'd love to hear in the comments your thoughts on that, how close you think these are, and which image you preferred, the 105 or the 100. So let me know in the comments about that. And that being said, I appreciate you watching this video. If anything helped you, please help me by leaving a comment, and of course subscribing and hitting like and all that good stuff. And I'd love to know your thoughts, because if you're familiar with the channel, I answer almost everybody. So let me know what you're thinking, and I'm gonna send you a message back, almost guaranteed. So anyway, thanks for watching, YouTube. Appreciate you, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.